Okay, someone has to explain the whole body swapping storyline and rules, please, because I feel like they're just making them up as they go along here. Released in 1989 and is directed by Wes Craven, who's also behind such films like The Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes, The People Under the Stairs, and several parts of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And this film is starring Michael Murphy, Peter Berg, Cammie Cooper, and Mitch Pileggi. And the reason why we're talking about Shocker today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from a big contributor and supporter of this channel, David Klimov. Thank you very much for the recommendation. It's a movie that I feel like I have heard of this, or I've definitely seen the poster here before, especially when I'm looking up like horror film rankings or horror films from the 80s that you should have watched. This poster of the guy sitting in the electric chair and there's electricity flowing all throughout his veins and all throughout the chair. It's very familiar to me. However, this is definitely my first time watching this movie, and yeah, I have a lot of questions about what the hell is actually happening here and why it's happening, but unfortunately, I don't think the film actually answers a lot of those questions. It kind of just happens, and you just go along for the ride. But thank you very much, David, for the recommendation. If anyone else out there also wants to be like David and help support me and contribute to this channel, you can select the QR code that is in the bottom left corner of your screen right now. Send over your donation of $5 or more with your movie recommendation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a little shout out, just like what I did with David here. A serial killer is on the loose in Los Angeles, and he is going on a killing spree, having killed 30 people already. Unlucky for him, that local college football star Jonathan recently gets concussed several times at practice and starts seeing visions of the killings happening in his brain as he sleeps before they happen. So Jonathan tells his father, who is the local police lieutenant, and they're able to apprehend the serial killer and sentence him to death by electric chair. But somehow, some way, he does a ceremony in his cell, like that's his last meal request, like give him this book and all these candles, and he does a ceremony, and there's this weird electric monster that comes out of the TV, and he's like, hey, you got it, buddy. And then this serial killer, whose name is Horace Pinker, is put in the chair, but then when they throw the switch, like that gives him all of the electric powers to zoom through all the electrical wires just everywhere, but it also gives him it's stupid. It also gives him the ability to I guess invade someone else's body, and Horace's consciousness takes over that person's consciousness and is able to like walk around and perform killings and murders, in particular to this Jonathan guy who he keeps going after, because Jonathan is the one who captured him with his mind and his psychic powers, remember? But what I also don't understand is when he does swap bodies, like if he touches someone while in someone else's body, he is able to move into that other person's body, and now Horace is that new person. But when he transfers bodies, like his physical manifestation of his body is implanted into the new person's body. When Horace was Horace, and before he was thrown into the electric chair, you know, he would talk down here, very creepy like, but he also had a limp. He had a gimp leg that was turned sideways, so he would always like shuffle along if he was running or coming after you. But after he's put in the electric chair and he gets all these powers and he's able to swap bodies, when he moves into someone else's body, that person, even though it's just like the consciousness that is being transferred, that new person is now walking with the limp and is talking like Horace for some reason. Again, this is where I want to ask questions, because nothing is being answered here, and I want to know the rules about the body switching, because the rules that they're enacting here just don't make sense. Why would your consciousness, when transferred to someone else's body, change that body's physicality. Like, why would all of a sudden that person have a gimp leg now? Why wouldn't that consciousness just realize, like, oh, hey, this person's leg works just fine, so I'm going to run like a normal person after Jonathan? And I know I'm getting hung up on little aspects like that from a movie whose story is presenting, hey, you did a sacrifice or a ceremony of some type, and this electricity god gave you powers so that you're able to do this. I'm stuck on the physicality thing that's being transferred. I get how silly and stupid that is on my part, but I just can't help it. I like stories that are smart and make sense. I will give this film credit, though, and credit to Wes Craven for showing a character like this. This guy is brutal. Like, this is a serial killer that's not, like, dumbed down or watered down at all. He is hardcore. He will kill anyone. He has killed anyone. Women, children, men, teenagers, people who are in love, people who are great people. No one is safe, and I respect that from a serial killer villain in a film. And I think Mitch Pileggi, or however you pronounce it, I think he does a pretty damn good job in showing just the ugliness and the scariness of this character. But then you get to Peter Berg's performance as Jonathan Parker, and we talk about overacting, you know? We talk about it a lot here. This guy is just milking every line that he has as if it's the end-all, be-all line that is going to bring the story to a close and is going to be the most impactful line I've ever said. I thought several times that this actor was going to puke on screen. His delivery sounded like he was holding back vomit coming up through his throat, and it was getting stuck like right here, right in the back of his mouth while saying the lines, and then he was able to sit it back down and swallow it. I swear, I saw him kill those people last night. I swear I did. That was his delivery through the entire film. And, you know, I appreciate you trying things, and maybe this is your first, or one of the first big roles that you've had in a feature-length film. Hell, it's Wes Craven, for God's sake. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on you. But you can ease up a little bit on the delivery, and you can try to sound at least a little natural. But instead, you sound like this. Oh, God. Yeah, it sucks when the protagonist you can't really get behind because the actor playing them is annoying you to death. It just gets to the point like, oh my God, let's move on here, please. Horace, could you actually kill this kid, Jonathan? Because he's annoying the fuck out of me. But then we get to the third act where they are going through with this convoluted, weird-ass plan that I want to know, where did you get all of this information? And yes, you're talking to your ghost girlfriend who also was killed by the serial killer, and she probably gave you all the clues to do this, but how does the ghost know that getting the shocker dude into the TV and then finding a scene in the TV that has a remote for you to control the remote to get to one of the scenes with the news people that you invited over, and then when you come out, you press pause, and that'll pause the shocker dude, and then when the power goes out, if you jump through the TV, you'll be fine, but then he'll be trapped. How the fuck do you know this? And I'm pretty sure that was accurate, that whole breakdown of the plan. Like, I'm pretty sure that's how it went. Maybe I missed a step here and there, but yeah, my God. You talk about convoluted. Holy shit. However, I do have to sit back and think, you know, this is Wes Craven doing Wes Craven things with all these practical effects. At least the majority of them are practical. Because this is electricity, we have a couple of scenes where it is an obvious green screen and people are moving and the screen is moving in the background. Doesn't hold up today. When the shocker comes out of the TV, he has all these electric things. He's transparent, but then he solidifies a little bit. Oh, God. It looks bad. It looks very, very bad. Probably bad for 1989 as well. This film has its charm and has its good things, but of the bad things that it has, I mean, it's dog shit. Like, the good is like, okay, yeah, it's charming, but once you get to the bad, oh god, that's shit. Like, don't watch this because of those things. But I am inclined to recommend this movie because I do think there is enough charm in here, and I don't know, if you're going on like a Wes Craven type binge watch of all of his films, this is definitely required viewing. I feel like this has Wes Craven all over it. This is his style, and you can tell that he's just having fun with this entire story. Is it weird, and does it not make sense? Yeah, this doesn't make sense at all, but I don't know, if you can turn your brain off enough, hey, maybe you can jump through your phone screen or your computer screen, whatever you're watching this on, and then maybe you can find me, and we'll get into a little tussle, and if you find a remote somewhere, you can freeze me, and then you can close the power out, and then trap me in here for all time. Maybe that'll help you with your watching of this review and of this movie. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I'm going to give Shocker 2.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I found that if you have a goal, that you might not reach it. But if you don't have one, then you are never disappointed. And I gotta tell you, it feels phenomenal.
So guys, have you seen Shocker? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.